My beloved child, I want you to stop for a moment, to close your eyes and take a deep, centering breath, because I see how incredibly heavy your heart has become under the weight of a life that feels more like a performance than a reality. You have been running so fast and working so hard to maintain an image, to keep up with the demands of the world, that somewhere along the way, you have quietly forgotten who you actually are beneath the layers of expectations. I am here to gently peel back those layers, not to expose you to shame, but to reveal the beautiful, authentic masterpiece that I created before the world ever told you who you should be. You are not the titles you hold, the work you produce, or the opinions others have of you. Those are merely clothes you wear, but they are not your skin, and they are certainly not your soul. I know that lately, you have felt a strange sense of disconnection, a feeling that the person you present to the world is a stranger to the person who lives inside your heart, and this separation is causing a deep ache within your spirit. You look in the mirror and you see the stressed lines and the tired eyes, but I look at you and I see my own reflection, buried under the debris of stress and the fear of not being enough. I want to remind you today that you are mine before you do anything, before you achieve a single goal, and before you please a single person. Your value was settled in the heavens before you took your first breath. You do not need to earn your place in this world or in my heart, for you were born with a seat at my table that has your name carved into it, a seat that no one else can fill. There is a gentle urgency in my voice today because I see how the pressure to conform is slowly crushing your unique spirit, squeezing you into molds that were never designed to hold the vastness of who I made you to be. You have been carrying labels that others have placed on you, labels like the strong one, the peacemaker, the achiever, or even the failure. And you have accepted them as your identity, letting them dictate your boundaries and your worth. But I am the only one with the authority to name you, and the names I have given you are beloved, chosen, redeemed, and masterpiece. I want you to lay down the heavy burden of defining yourself, and simply let me tell you the truth of your existence, which is rooted in love, grace, and an eternal purpose that cannot be shaken by earthly circumstances. I feel the weariness in your bones, a tiredness that sleep cannot fix because it is a spiritual fatigue born from the constant effort of holding up a mask that is becoming too heavy to carry. You have been acting the part for so long that you are afraid if you stop, everything will fall apart and you will be left with nothing. But I tell you that if you drop the act, you will finally find the solid ground of my truth. I am inviting you into a space of rest where you don't have to perform, where you don't have to impress, and where you can simply be the vulnerable, imperfect, and deeply loved child that you are. This message is my embrace, wrapping around you to shield you from the harsh winds of criticism and comparison, reminding you that in my arms, you are safe to be exactly who you are. Listen closely to the whisper in your spirit that tells you there must be more to life than this endless cycle of pleasing others and striving for validation that fades as soon as you receive it. That whisper is my voice, calling you home to yourself and home to me, guiding you back to the ancient paths where your soul can find rest and your identity can be restored. You were not created to be a chameleon, constantly changing your colors to fit the environment. You were created to shine with a distinct and steady light that reflects my glory in a way no one else can. I want to wash away the confusion that has clouded your mind, the doubts that have plagued your heart, and the fears that have silenced your voice, replacing them with a clarity that comes from knowing you are deeply known and fully loved. The world has told you that you are what you have, what you do, and what people say about you. but those are shifting sands that will leave you unstable and insecure when the storms of life come. I am building your house on the rock of my unchanging love, a foundation that remains firm even when you fail, even when you lose, and even when you feel completely broken. Your identity is not a fragile thing that can be shattered by rejection or failure. It is a fortress built by my hands, and nothing in all of creation can separate you from the love that defines you. Let these words sink deep into the marrow of your bones, healing the places where you have felt inadequate and restoring the dignity that belongs to every child of the Most High God. You have noticed the signs, even if you haven't wanted to admit them to yourself. The feeling that living this fake version of your life is becoming heavier than the hardest physical labor. It takes an immense amount of energy to suppress your true feelings, to bite your tongue when you want to speak, and to smile when you want to cry, and this energy drain is leaving you depleted. You wake up in the morning already feeling behind, already dreading the role you have to play, and that is a clear signal that you are drifting away from the source of your true life. I did not design you to live a life of pretense. I designed you for authenticity, for freedom, and for the joy that comes when your outer life matches your inner truth. There is a craving rising up within you, a hunger for clarity and purpose that the temporary pleasures of this world can no longer satisfy. And this hunger is actually a blessing in disguise. It is your soul crying out for its true home, refusing to settle for the cheap substitutes of popularity or material success that leave you feeling empty and unseen. You are tired of the superficial conversations, the shallow relationships, and the hollow victories that look good on the outside but feel meaningless on the inside. This dissatisfaction is my invitation to go deeper, to leave the shallow waters of performance and launch out into the deep ocean of my love, where you can discover the treasures I have hidden within you. You are finding yourself increasingly irritable and resentful, snapping at the people you love or feeling a sudden flash of anger, and you wonder where it is coming from because you are usually so patient. My child, this anger is the exhaust fume of a soul that is being stifled, a signal that your boundaries have been crossed and your needs have been ignored for too long in the name of keeping the peace. You have been saying yes to everyone else and no to yourself, and your spirit is rebelling against this neglect, demanding to be heard and cared for. I want you to listen to these emotions not as sins to be confessed, but as warning lights on the dashboard of your life, telling you that it is time to pull over and check the engine. The exhaustion you feel is not just physical tiredness. It is the specific exhaustion of pretending, of constantly calculating how you should act to be accepted or admired. You analyze your words before you speak. You edit your personality to fit the room, and you constantly scan the faces of others to see if you are safe. And this hypervigilance is wearing you down. I want to relieve you of the job of being your own public relations manager, constantly spinning your image to look favorable. You can resign from that position today because I am your defender, your advocate, and the one who justifies you. You do not need to prove your worth to anyone, not even yourself. You have begun to feel a sense of numbness, a detachment from your own life, as if you are watching a movie of someone else going through the motions rather than actually living it yourself. This dissociation is a defense mechanism, a way your heart protects itself from the pain of not being true to who you are, but it also blocks you from experiencing true joy and connection. I want to bring you back to life, to thaw the frozen places in your heart so that you can feel again, even if it means feeling the pain of growth and change. It is better to feel the sharp sting of truth than the dull ache of a lie, for the truth will set you free to dance, to laugh, and to love with a whole heart. I see how you struggle to make decisions lately, second-guessing your intuition and looking for outside validation for every small choice, because you have lost touch with your own internal compass. When you live to please others, their voices drown out the still, small voice of my spirit within you, and you become tossed back and forth by the waves of their opinions. I want to dial down the volume of the world and turn up the volume of my grace, so you can hear the guidance that is always available to you. You are not lost. You are just overwhelmed by the noise, and I am here to create a quiet sanctuary where you can remember what you truly want and what I truly want for you. You often feel a deep loneliness, even when you are surrounded by people, because you know that they are interacting with your mask, not with the real you, and that is the loneliest feeling in the world. You fear that if you showed them your mess, your doubts, and your fears, they would turn away, so you keep the walls up and suffer in silence. But I am the God who sees you in the secret place, who knows your darkest thoughts and your hidden shame, and I love you with an intensity that burns away all fear. You are never alone in your struggle. I am right there with you, holding your hand and whispering that you are worthy of love exactly as you are, without filters or edits. There is a sense of grief that you can't quite name, a mourning for the years you feel you have wasted trying to be someone else, and a fear that it is too late to change course. My beloved, nothing is ever wasted in my economy. I can take even your years of wandering and turn them into a map to help others find their way home. Do not let regret steal your present. Instead, let it fuel your determination to live authentically from this moment forward. The past is a lesson, not a life sentence, and I am making all things new in your life right now, springing forth a fresh stream in the desert of your soul. You are noticing that the things that used to motivate you, fear of punishment, desire for praise, the need to be good, no longer work, and you are left feeling stuck and unmotivated. This is because you are growing, and your soul is no longer content with immature motivations. You are ready to be motivated by love, by truth, and by a genuine desire to glorify me. This transition feels uncomfortable, like outgrowing a favorite pair of shoes, but it is a necessary part of your spiritual maturity. I am stripping away the old engines that drove you so that I can install a new power source, one that runs on the endless fuel of my spirit and my joy. Let us talk about the struggle of people-pleasing, that relentless taskmaster that demands you sacrifice your own needs on the altar of someone else's comfort. You have been trained to believe that being good means making everyone else happy, even at the expense of your own mental and spiritual health. But I did not create you to be a doormat. I created you to be a temple, a sacred space that is to be respected and honored. When you say yes, when you mean no, you are bringing a lie into your relationships, and you are dishonoring the truth I placed inside you. I want to teach you the holy art of boundaries, which is simply the ability to love others without losing yourself. The fear of disapproval hangs over you like a dark cloud, controlling your actions and silencing your voice, because the thought of someone being upset with you feels like a death. You equate rejection by people with rejection by me, but that is a lie. Human rejection is often just a redirection to a place where you will be celebrated, not just tolerated. I want to heal the wound in your heart that craves approval so desperately, filling it with my unconditional acceptance so that you can stand tall even when others misunderstand you. You are approved by the King of Kings, and once you truly grasp that, the opinions of others become mere noise, not a verdict on your soul. You feel split in two, living a double life where your public self is smiling, competent, and spiritual, while your private self is crumbling, anxious, and full of doubt. This division creates a tension in your body and soul that is exhausting, and it keeps you from experiencing the peace that passes all understanding. I want to integrate your life, to weave the scattered pieces back together so that you are the same person in the dark as you are in the light. Integrity means being whole, undivided, and I am calling you to a life of wholeness where you don't have to hide your struggles to be a witness to my grace. Confusion strikes you deeply whenever you face a setback or a failure, because you have tied your identity so tightly to your success that a failure in what you do feels like a failure in who you are. You ask, who am I now? When the job is gone, the relationship ends, or the dream is delayed, and you feel like you are disappearing. But failures are merely events. They are not definitions. They are chapters in your story, not the title of your book. I am the author who uses even the darkest plot twists to develop your character and move the story toward a glorious redemption. So trust me when the page turns. You have become an expert at over-adapting, scanning every room you enter to figure out who you need to be to fit in, to be safe, and to be liked by those in power. You change your tone, your interests, and even your beliefs to match the company you keep. And in the process, you lose the unique flavor I gave you to salt the earth. I want you to walk into rooms not to fit in, but to bring the atmosphere of heaven, to be a thermostat that sets the temperature rather than a thermometer that just reflects it. You have authority in me to be yourself, and the right people, the ones I have ordained for your journey, will love the real you, not the adapted version. Losing boundaries to keep the peace has become a habit, a reflex where you allow others to walk over your garden, because you are afraid of the conflict that might come from building a fence. But a garden without a fence is soon trampled and eaten by wild beasts, leaving nothing beautiful for you or for me. Peace at any price is not peace. It is appeasement, and it leads to a war inside your own soul. I am handing you the tools to build healthy gates in your life, gates that open to let love in and close to keep toxicity out. For this is how you steward the heart I have entrusted to you. You struggle with the guilt of self-care, feeling that any time spent on yourself is selfish, and that you should be pouring out every drop for others until you are dry. But you cannot pour from an empty cup, and I did not ask you to burn out for me. I asked you to burn bright for me, which requires oil in your lamp. Taking time to rest, to heal, and to connect with me is not selfishness. It is good stewardship of the vessel I am using. I want you to release the guilt that says you must be a martyr to be a saint. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and that mercy starts with how you treat yourself. The comparison trap is another struggle that steals your identity. As you look at others and think they are better, more spiritual, or more loved than you are. You measure your insides against their outsides, your bloopers against their highlight reels, and you always come up short in your own eyes. But comparison is a thief of joy, and a liar that blinds you to your own unique beauty. I broke the mold when I made you, and I have no desire for you to be a cheap copy of someone else. I delight in your specific laugh, your specific heart, and your specific way of seeing the world. You often feel responsible for other people's emotions, thinking that if they are unhappy, it is your job to fix it, and if they are angry, it must be your fault. This false responsibility is a heavy burden that I never asked you to carry, for you are only responsible for your own heart and your own actions. You cannot heal everyone, you cannot save everyone, and you cannot make everyone happy, and that is okay. Release the burden of being the savior of your world, and let me be the savior. I am much better equipped for the job, and I can handle the things that are too heavy for you. There is a fear of being too much or not enough that constantly plays in the background of your mind, making you shrink back or try too hard, never finding the balance of just being. You dampen your light so you don't blind others, or you inflate your achievements so you aren't overlooked, oscillating between pride and insecurity. I want you to rest in the middle place of humility, which is simply agreeing with what I say about you, that you are gifted, valuable, and small enough to need me but big enough to matter. You are just right for the assignment I have given you, perfectly equipped for the good works I prepared in advance for you to walk in. You struggle with a harsh inner critic, a voice that narrates your life with negativity, pointing out every flaw and predicting every failure with cruel precision. This voice sounds like truth because it is familiar, but it is the voice of the accuser, not the voice of your Father. I speak to you with kindness, with hope, and with gentle correction that lifts you up rather than beating you down. I want you to start debating that inner critic, countering every lie with my word, until the voice of love becomes the loudest voice in your head. You feel a deep sense of shame when you are weak, believing that you should be stronger, more faithful, and more resilient than you feel right now. You hide your weakness, thinking it disqualifies you from being used by me, but my strength is made perfect in weakness. Your vulnerability is not a liability. It is the very crack through which my light can shine most brilliantly to a hurting world. Bring your weakness to me, and watch how I use it to build a bridge of empathy to others who are also struggling in silence. The fear of being exposed as a fraud, known as imposter syndrome, haunts you, making you feel like you don't belong in the rooms you are in or deserve the blessings you have. You wait for the other shoe to drop, for someone to realize you don't know what you're doing, and this anxiety keeps you from enjoying your success. But you are not a fraud. You are a child in the process of growing, and you are exactly where I have placed you. I open those doors for you, and I will equip you to stay there. You can trust my placement even when you doubt your own ability. You struggle to receive love, finding it much easier to give than to receive, because receiving requires vulnerability and a belief that you are worthy of care. You deflect compliments, you minimize your needs, and you push away help, thinking you are being strong, but you are actually blocking the flow of my blessings. I want you to practice opening your hands and your heart to receive, knowing that you are worthy of love simply because you exist, not because of what you provide. Let others bless you, for in doing so, you allow them to be the hands and feet of Jesus to you. There is a tendency to define yourself by your past mistakes, carrying them around like a heavy chain that limits how far you can go and how high you can reach. You think I am a divorced person, I am an addict, or I am a failure, letting your history dictate your destiny. But in me, you are a new creation. The old has gone and the new has come. I have washed you clean, and I do not remember your sins against you. So why do you keep remembering them against yourself? Drop the chains, step out of the prison cell that is already unlocked, and walk into the sunlight of your redemption. You often feel invisible, like your hard work and your faithful heart go unnoticed by the world, and you wonder if you really matter in the grand scheme of things. It hurts to be overlooked, to be passed over, and to feel like a background character in your own life. But I tell you that you are the protagonist of the story I am writing with you, and you are never invisible to me. I see every tear, every act of kindness, and every silent prayer. You are the apple of my eye, the center of my attention, and your life is making a ripple effect in eternity that you cannot see with human eyes. You struggle with the feeling that you have to hold it all together for everyone else, being the rock that never crumbles, the strong one who never needs help. This pressure is immense and unfair, for only I can hold the world together. You are allowed to fall apart. You are allowed to not know the answer, and you are allowed to need support. I want you to resign from the position of general manager of the universe and take your place as a beloved child who is carried by a loving father. Let go of the control you think you have and fall into the safety of my sovereignty. Finally, you struggle with the fear that if you truly surrender to me, I will change you into someone you don't want to be or ask you to do something you hate. You fear that my will is a cage, when in reality, it is a wide-open field of freedom. I do not want to erase your personality. I want to redeem it and set it on fire with purpose. Trusting me with your identity is not losing yourself. It is finding the only version of yourself that is truly alive, truly free, and truly eternal. Now receive this revelation that will anchor your soul. Identity is received, not achieved. It is a gift given by the Creator, not a trophy earned by the creation. You have been striving to build an identity, brick by brick, through your efforts, but I am offering you a finished identity that was paid for on the cross. You are who I say you are, and nothing you do can add to that, and nothing you do can take away from it. This truth is the bedrock of your peace, the stillness in the storm, and the unshakable confidence that allows you to face anything life throws at you. When your identity is secure in me, your decisions become clearer because you are no longer making choices to prove your worth or to avoid rejection. You can choose based on truth, based on love, and based on the specific calling I have placed on your life, rather than being swayed by the crowd. You will stop asking, "What will they think?" and start asking, "What does he think?" And that shift changes everything. Clarity comes when the fog of people-pleasing lifts, revealing the path I have laid out for you, a path of peace and purpose. Understand that boundaries are not selfish. They are the guardians of truth, protecting the sacred garden of your heart from being trampled by things that do not belong there. Just as the physical heart has valves to keep blood flowing in the right direction, your spiritual heart needs boundaries to keep love flowing purely. When you say no to what drains you, you are saying yes to what sustains you, and you are honoring the limit of your humanity. I gave you limits not to punish you, but to protect you, to remind you that you are human and that you need me. The mask you wear is heavy because it is made of dead weight, dead expectations, dead fears, and dead works that have no life in them. The true you is light, buoyant, and filled with the breath of my spirit, designed to float above the cares of this world. When you release the need to impress, you release the weight that drags you down, and you will find that you have wings to soar. Authenticity is the lightest garment you can wear, for it requires no maintenance, no adjustments, and no fear of being found out. Your value is intrinsic, meaning it is built into the very fiber of your being, just like the value of a gold coin remains the same whether it is shiny or covered in mud. The world may judge you by your exterior condition, but I know the gold that is underneath, and I am the one who determines your worth. You are valuable because you carry my image, because I chose you, and because I love you, and that is a currency that never fluctuates with the market. Rest in the stability of your worth, knowing it is a fixed point in a turning world. The vulnerability you fear is actually the gateway to the intimacy you crave, for you cannot be truly loved if you are not truly known. When you lower your defenses and let others see your imperfections, you give them permission to be imperfect too, creating a space of grace and connection. I am calling you to be brave, to take the risk of being seen, knowing that even if people reject you, I have already accepted you. Your wounds, when shared, become distinct marks of beauty and healing for others, turning your pain into purpose. You are not a disappointment to me. You are a delight, a joy, and a song that I sing over with gladness every single day. The accuser tries to tell you that I am shaking my head at you, but I am actually smiling at you, cheering you on as you learn to walk in grace. I see your heart, I see your effort, and I see your desire to please me, and that is precious in my sight. Remove the image of an angry judge from your mind, and replace it with the image of a loving father running to embrace his child. Your true identity is a child of God, and that title supersedes every other title you will ever hold: employee, spouse, parent, friend, or leader. Those other roles are temporary assignments, but your sonship or daughterhood is an eternal reality that will outlast the stars. When you operate from the identity of a child, you can trust your Father to provide, to protect, and to guide, relieving you of the burden of figuring it all out alone. Live as a child, playful, trusting, and secure in the knowledge that your Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. I am refining you, stripping away the false layers not to hurt you, but to reveal the diamond that has been hidden under the rough stone. The pressure you feel is part of this process, a holy squeezing that pushes out the impurities and hardens your resolve to live for truth. Do not despise the process, for I am a master craftsman, and I know exactly how much pressure to apply to bring out your brilliance without crushing your spirit. You are coming out of this season more radiant, more transparent, and more reflective of my glory than ever before. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You only have to be who I created you to be, and that is enough. I gave you a specific lane, a specific gift, and a specific sphere of influence, and I do not expect you to run in anyone else's lane. Liberate yourself from the expectation of being a superhero, and embrace the beauty of being a human being who walks with God. Your specific contribution is needed, and it is most powerful when it is pure and undiluted by the desire to be someone else. The love you are searching for is already yours. You are swimming in an ocean of it, but you have been so busy looking for water on the shore that you haven't realized you are submerged. Open your spiritual eyes to see the magnitude of my love, which is higher, deeper, wider, and longer than anything you can comprehend. This love is the anchor that holds your identity in place, preventing you from drifting into the sea of insecurity. Drink deeply from this well, and you will never thirst for human approval again. Your past does not define you. It refines you, serving as a school where you learned the lessons that now make you wise and compassionate. I have taken your mistakes and woven them into a tapestry of grace, turning what the enemy meant for evil into something good. Do not look back with shame. Look back with gratitude for how far I have brought you and how much I have forgiven. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are the sum of my mercies. True peace comes when you stop fighting against the way I made you and start embracing it, quirks and all. I made you sensitive for a reason. I made you strong for a reason. I made you quiet or loud for a reason. Stop apologizing for your design and start thanking the designer, for you are fearfully and wonderfully made. When you align with your design, you tap into a flow of energy and joy that feels effortless because you are working with the grain, not against it. The world asks, "What do you do?" But I ask, "Who are you becoming?" Because I am more interested in your character than your career. I am growing the fruits of the Spirit in your life: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. And these are the true markers of a successful life. Focus on the inner work, the cultivation of your soul, and the outer work will take care of itself. You are a tree of righteousness, my planting, that I might be glorified. You are allowed to change, to grow, and to shed old skins that no longer fit who you are becoming in me. Do not let people box you into who you used to be. Give yourself permission to evolve as I reveal new aspects of your identity. Growth is a sign of life, and I am a God of life, constantly doing a new thing in you. Embrace the new season, the new name, and the new strength I am pouring into you. So today, my beloved, I encourage you to release one borrowed label that you have been carrying, a label that feels heavy and untrue. Maybe it's the failure, or the disappointment, or the invisible one. Whatever it is, take it off right now and hand it to me. I will take that heavy garment and replace it with a robe of righteousness and a garment of praise. You do not have to carry lies anymore. You are free to walk in the light of the truth. Choose one boundary today that protects the real you, a small fence that says, "This is holy ground," and keeps the chaos out. It might be saying no to an extra commitment, turning off your phone to rest, or speaking up when you are hurt. This act of self-protection is an act of worship, declaring that you value the creation I have made. Do not fear the reaction of others. Fear only the loss of your own soul's peace. Live one day from truth, not fear. Wake up tomorrow and ask yourself, what would I do today if I knew I was fully loved and could not fail? Then, go and do that thing, speak that word, and wear that smile. Step out of the boat of fear and walk on the water of faith, keeping your eyes locked on mine. I am holding you up, and you will not sink as long as you are looking at me. Stop performing for an audience that is not watching, and start living for the audience of one who is always watching with love. My applause is the only affirmation you need, and I am cheering you on with all the hosts of heaven. You are doing better than you think you are, and I am proud of the progress you are making. Let my "well done" be the soundtrack of your life. Be gentle with yourself as you unlearn the old ways and learn the new. This is a journey, not a sprint, and stumbling is part of learning to walk. When you fall, do not stay down in shame. Reach up your hand and I will pull you up, dust you off, and set you on your feet again. My grace is sufficient for your learning curve. Remember that you are a carrier of my presence, a vessel containing the treasure of the Holy Spirit, and that gives you infinite dignity and worth. You bring value to every room you enter simply because I am in you. Walk with your head held high, not in arrogance, but in the quiet confidence of a child of the King. Connect with those who see the real you and celebrate it, the community that reminds you of your true name when you forget. You need mirrors that reflect your true image, friends who speak life and truth to your spirit. Seek out these safe harbors and be that safe harbor for others. Let your yes be yes and your no be no, for simple honesty is the language of a free soul. You do not need to explain, justify, or apologize for your boundaries. They stand on the authority of your God-given worth. Live simply, speak truthfully, and love deeply. You are a masterpiece in progress, and I am not finished with you yet. The best parts of your story are still unwritten. Trust the brushstrokes of the master artist, even when they look dark or confusing, for I am painting a picture of breathtaking beauty. You are my work of art. Breathe in my love, breathe out your fear. Make this your rhythm, your prayer, and your lifeline. In every moment of stress, return to the breath, return to the truth, and return to me. I am closer than your very breath. Go forth now in the power of your true identity, unburdened, unashamed, and unafraid to be exactly who you are. The world is waiting for the real you to show up. You are my beloved, and in you I am well pleased. As we close this time together, I invite you to stay connected to this stream of truth, to keep drinking from the well that restores your soul. If this message has touched a tender place in your heart, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, not as a task, but as a way to keep this door of encouragement open. Let us walk this path of discovery together, day by day, as you remember more and more of who you truly are in me. Rest now, my child, in the deep, unshakable knowledge that you are seen, you are known, and you are loved beyond measure. Let the peace that I give guard your heart and mind as you step back into your life, wearing your true name like a crown. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Amen.